Welcome to this Forex Preview here at XM.com. I'm Christina Marujos, and joining me today is Senior Investment Analyst Marios Hadjikyriacos. We'll be covering the upcoming U.S. data coming out on Friday. But before that, Marios, let's have a look at yields. They're going berserk after the Fed almost signaled a rate hike for next year. And it looks like inflation won't be cooling down anytime soon either, thanks to the energy crisis in China. How will this impact the dollar?
Hello, Christina. You are absolutely right. Yields are going crazy. Part of that has to do with the Fed. So the Fed was split last week. It was split evenly on whether rates will be raised next year. But the markets appear much more confident about that because the first rate increase is already fully priced in for December next year. So that was one element pushing yields higher. The other one is what's happening in China. So there's essentially a massive power crisis, a massive energy crisis there. And the threat is that this might result in inflation. So manufacturers in China might have to raise their prices to cope with the hit to their production. And that might make inflation more persistent. China could export inflation abroad essentially. So the markets are reading the situation as the Fed is probably going to raise interest rates sooner than expected. Inflation is probably not going away anytime soon, and therefore yields are moving higher. Now, as for the dollar, we've seen it gain, but the biggest gains have been against the yen. The yen is traditionally the currency that takes the biggest hit when yields rise.
And now turning to the data, there are several data releases coming up on Friday. What could impact the market the most?
Well, we get personal consumption, personal income, and the core PCE price index. All of these are for August. I don't think any of this will be massively important. Investors already have a very good idea of how the economy and how inflation evolved in August. Instead, most of the focus, I think, will be on the ISM Manufacturing PMI. That one is for September, and it's a forward-looking indicator. It will give us a sense of how bad supply chains are with what's happening in China and all over the world, and it will also give us an early look into how the labor market performed in September, which will be crucial because if you remember last week, Chairman Powell said we will probably taper in November, but that's assuming that the next employment report is decent. So there will be a lot of attention on that. Now, overall, I would argue that the outlook for the dollar is quite positive, especially against the yen and against the euro. The US economy is doing fine. Consumption is actually very strong. Retail sales are far above their pre-pandemic levels. The labor market seems to be healing quickly. And like we mentioned already, inflation doesn't look to be going away anytime soon. And of course, Congress is working on more spending packages. So long story short, I think we're going to be in an environment where the Fed out-normalizes the European Central Bank and the Bank of Japan, and that ultimately argues for a stronger dollar.
Marios, thank you for being with me today. This was a Forex Preview on U.S. data here at XM.com.